So hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another one that I love doing. I love these chat videos. I love these interview videos. Today's guest, I am so excited. Oh my god. I've just finished the interview or the chat, whatever you want to call it. And I am buzzing with energy. Today's guest is Lisa Berry, who plays Billie on Supernatural. She's also been a part of a wide variety of other projects. She has a lifestyle course called Take a Breath. Her Instagram, in my opinion, is very inspirational, and she's just such a wonderful person. I can't believe that she said yes, that she sat down, shared a little bit of time from her day, gave a little bit of insight. It's just, I've said it before. This is my favorite style of video to do, simply because I love talking to people. I talk for a living, I make videos, but I love listening to people's stories, to their experiences, to their hopes, their thoughts, their feelings. And that's why I love this kind of longer form interview style, almost like a podcast, where you can give somebody a platform to just talk, And yeah, oh my god, Lisa was the first Supernatural cast member that I've met and gotten to talk to, and I am very happy to share this with you. Huge thanks to Lisa for, like I said, sitting and giving so much of her time, being so graceful with her time. And yeah, here is my interview with Lisa. Okay, so to get started, um, I guess we'll just go back to where it all started for you. How did you get into acting, and how did you get into that world of the arts? Did you know it was something you always wanted?
No. I kind of stumbled into acting on a little bit of a whim or more like a dare with friends. They really did challenge me to audition for The Lion King when it was first coming through Toronto. And I had no prior training with singing or acting or dancing or any of that stuff. And I really thought I wasn't going to go very far, but to my own astonishment, I kind of advanced pretty quickly in the rounds and was pretty close to getting it. And I was just like, what is happening? I didn't think I had enough talent to kind of be paid to do it, like joking around with my friends is one thing. And, actually being paid to learn lines and build a character and bring them to life is a whole other thing. So after that experience that seemed so just random and off the cuff actually became like a pivot in my whole life and a turning point. And so I went to Randolph after that, and then the rest is history, as they say.
Wow, I bet you're very thankful to those friends.
I know. Well, we're still friends. Yeah, I am. I am.
Oh, that is an incredible story. Um, and you've done a lot of theater work, a lot of filmed or screen work. What do you generally tend to prefer? Because I know they're very different processes.
Hmm. What do I prefer in terms of like film and TV or theater?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So what process do you
Well, I
enjoy?
think I mean I love both mediums. I also love voice. And, theater roles tend to live a little bit longer in me, like due to like the ritualistic nature of performing.
Mm.
And I've adopted practices that help me, shed those characters in the end. But there's something fun about getting to play something that continues on and doesn't loop, so to speak. So I really just have an affection for all art forms. Like I'm not an artist per se who draws, but sometimes I like to pull out a sketch pad and even do that. But I think as artists, it's really important for us to have a variety of disciplines that we tap into so that we can give the discipline that we use all the time a rest. So we
Right.
can come back refreshed. And that's just how we kind of stay in the game a lot longer because there could be burnout. There could be a lot of burnout as an artist. So I think it's important to really kind of dabble in a whole bunch of different forms of art to stay connected to your art.
And I imagine if you are an artistic person, you do kind of want to dabble in a little bit of everything, experience it all, so to say.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. But when it comes to specifically choosing roles for you, I know everybody's different with what they prefer. Do you tend to gravitate towards roles that kind of remind you of yourself as is, or do you like roles that are completely different?
For me, it's not necessarily about playing characters that mirror my personality, but more embody energies that resonate with me. And I mean, I like to draw from characters that are grounded who exhibit, subtle hints of vulnerability and softness, and there are other characters that I play that I find more challenging to play because I don't naturally sit in that energy of when I have to find my strength and come from a place of feeling vulnerable and feeling, inaccessible to my strength. And that for me is always more of a challenge because I feel so much like a tree. I mean, I don't often get cast in roles like that. But I do find I tend to lean more towards roles that are grounded and rooted and need to be kind of this pillar of a character.
I could understand that. I could understand that. It must be hard though, trying to find so many different facets of yourself and sides of yourself in regards
I
to roles.
I think we really have a lot of sides to ourselves. I think if we all pull back the layers of ourselves, you'd be like, oh, hey, Becky, hey, Sarah, hey, Mark, hey, like there's just a
Yeah.
whole bunch of us living within ourselves. It's like that's what I think makes doing the spiritual work and the wellness work so challenging is you're just like, so who am I healing today?
Yeah.
Is it Sarah with the kid issues? Is it my teenage self? Is it, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think we are born with a ton of emotions and we don't know how to use them.
Mm.
And then as we get older, we're just like, how do we fit it all in this vessel we've been given when it feels sometimes like those emotions are bigger than us?
Absolutely. And I feel that okay, which side are we dealing with today? I feel that I really do. Um, and with Supernatural then, we have to talk about Supernatural. I have been watching this show for over half of my life. I started at 13, I think. Watched straight through, have rewatched many times. It was actually myself and my mom's comfort show during 2020. So
Mm.
she works in healthcare. It was a rough year, and I eventually wore her down. I wore her down. I was like, come on, de-stress. We can watch an episode or two per night. She became obsessed with it. But for you, joining a show that was that established so late on in, what was your experience like with first day, first experience on set?
I was a dedicated fan of Supernatural long before I joined the cast and auditioning for probably about a decade before I got cast, but my casting wasn't actually a result of any specific audition that I had done. It was based on an impression I left in the room. And so Phil Squeegee called me and asked if I would play this role that they had written and they didn't know where it was going to go or what was going to happen with it, but they just knew that they wanted somebody who had the energy that you had every time you come into the room. And I mean, I was like, yes, of course. I was so excited to get that kind of a message. Um, and so I didn't know what size the part was. I didn't even know what I'd be doing. And then, the rest is supernatural history. But it was a really great reminder of how what's for you will always find you.
Absolutely. Oh, that's such a gorgeous story. So it had been kind of there for you all along. You
Yeah,
actively.
I thought I'd missed my shot so many times because it was a show that I really enjoyed watching for all the same reasons that the fans love watching it. And every time I'd get an audition, I'd be like, "Ooh, maybe this is the one."
Oh,
It keeps coming up in my universe. And
yeah.
then all of a sudden, it'd be like, "Nope, that's fine, that's fine." And then when it was like season 7, I was like, "I don't know how much more they have left."
Yeah.
Running out of time here, and then it'd be like season 10, and I was like, this is gotta be it. And then that
Oh
was the
my
year.
God.
But yeah,
Meant to
so
be. Truly meant
sometimes
to be.
feels like a meant to be kind of moment. It's been a wonderful experience. Yeah.
But with Billie, I mean, like she had such a big arc with so many different defining moments, so many different twists and turns. And for you, I wonder what were some points that you, not necessarily, your favorite points of her storyline, but points that you felt, I understand her now. Okay, I can connect with her.
That's such a great question. I'm so glad you asked that because when I first got the script and saw what I was going to be doing, one of the lines that I had was the old death, and I was just like, you know, I watched the show and I know what happened to the old death.
Yeah.
And I just created a world where I was in line to become the next death. That's how I always saw it. I didn't know that I literally was going to eventually become the next death, but I always envisioned myself as the character who was right next to death when Julian was playing him. And he would be, making some kind of deal with the Winchesters. And I'd be like, don't. Mm, no, no. And so on that fateful night in season 10, when he got axed, I was just like, and that was where Billie started. So that's how she was introduced to the boys, where she didn't have to be invisible anymore. She could come out of the shadows, so to speak, and start cleaning up the mess. So that was how I always saw Billie. So every time it kind of grew, I just had that in my psyche, and I brought that every time I played her. And then next thing you know, she is death, and I was like, I'm ready.
That's because that's literally one of my questions that I was going to say, knowing now, I mean, Billy's end and death, if you had known that when you started, would you have changed anything about how you portrayed her? But you kind of manifested that, brought it to the forefront.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, the writers are amazing, so I'm not taking credit for that, but I did
Of
walk in
course.
with that. And I think that's just because I was a fan of the show, so I watched it. So I had that knowledge, and I had something I could play with, that
Yeah.
just made it more interesting. And as an actor, you always want to have a secret. You always want to have something that that nobody else knows. And so that was something that just really helped fuel me in terms of having a reason to have so much animosity for these guys. It's just like, well, why would they piss her off so much? And it's like, I was there the whole time. I was literally saying, screaming, but you couldn't hear me because you couldn't see me. But death could, and ignored me. That's how I always saw it.
Oh, that's fascinating. That's such a cool way to look at it.
Oh
I
my God.
imagine as well that would
Loves
help
that
you.
pizza? No. I was like,
I imagine it
no.
would help you bond with her as well as a character. You feel like you already knew her all along.
Yeah.
That's wow. But I know with TV shows, you guys can have long days, you can have late nights. What was one of I don't want to say the longest days because that sounds so negative, but a day that you remember being so spent at the end of.
I don't have any days that were so spent at the end. I never really had a lot of long nights or anything like that. There was one overnight shoot, but it was still within a good chunk of time. They run that ship like a well-oiled machine. There's very little, oh, it's going late. Is they all want to get home to their kids, they want to do good work and live their lives. Nobody in this industry wants to be on set for 18 hours if it can be done in 12. So I always just kind of want to be the easiest part of anybody's day, because I know how hard it is to make something and how many moving pieces there are. So I wanted to always, like, and this is my intention every time I show up on set or when I'm doing theater, it's just, as an artist, I'm always just like, I just need to be the easiest part of everybody's day. And I can do that by knowing my lines. I can do that by being on time. I can do that by being kind. I can do that by, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when we have a long-winded scene like I did in, when you find out that I am deaf, and it was like a 12-page scene or something like that, and the director came up to me and asked if I would do it all in one take, because it was cut up, but it was still one monologue. And at the time, I was working at the Shaw Festival in Canada and had two plays in my head, plus choreography and singing and all of that other jazz, and flew out to do this episode. And so I was kind of ready for it, because my mind was already so, like the muscle, the
Yeah.
memorization muscle was so strong that I was like, yeah, sure, not a problem. Oh my God, that would actually be easier, instead of having to break up the thoughts, and that was a really great day, because it just moves so much faster, and we just all got out of there a lot earlier. So that's kind of how they are, though, from what I hear when I'm not there, when people are like, oh, I worked, and it was like, yeah, no, they run this shit tight, in a beautiful, warm family way, but also very efficient.
I mean, I guess
And
they'd
before
have
you
to.
ask, before you ask, I never got pranked ever. I
Ever.
would show up waiting. I'm like, today might be the day. It's like episode 10 that I'm doing. I was like, they're gonna do it. No, never came, never came, never came. I was just like, am I too serious?
I could imagine you sitting with your own pranks, waiting to get your own back. Like, come
Oh
on,
no,
any
absolutely
day.
not. I did not feel like I was not gonna be. I'm never that actor. I'm never that actor who's like, let me just pull a prank. I was like, no, 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 no. Not even on my own sets. Like, no.
Well, I
Too
guess it
nervous.
is. It can be kind of chaotic, and then, like you said, time wasting, and then people are set back. You
Oh
know.
yeah. Oh my goodness. I have no idea. I was like, I don't want to mess up wardrobe. I don't want to mess up like if we were in a take. It was I was like, I'm not too much, too many moving parts. Easy as
Yeah.
part of the day. Remember, easy as part of the day. But I never got pranked. I never got pranked.
Yeah.
That's a question to ask them. That's a question to ask them. Is like, why didn't you ever prank Lisa? She was ready. She was ready. A
Maybe
pie in the face.
maybe they had just gotten it out of their system because back in the very early seasons, they were just little boys. They were lit. I mean, I think they were older than me in season one, but they were little boys. They were little babies. Staying on the topic of set, I guess what we're talking about that. What are some of your favorite memories from being on set? It could be, like you said, a monologue you did, or not
Oh
getting pranked.
man. You know, one of my favorite moments was when I was filming with Jensen and baby was outside and I had gotten a photo with Jensen and I gotten a photo with Jerry because I'm a little bit of a, you know, geek like that too. I love
I
it.
love that.
And I was just like, too mad thinking about like I had to like I wasn't like the person right out of the gates. I'm like, I want a picture with you. But I was like, all
Yeah,
right, can I get a picture with you? We're done filming now. It was my first day. But and I didn't know if I was ever gonna be back. So I was just like, I'm taking my shot.
exactly.
But there was a day where baby was outside and I wanted to get a picture inside the car. And I like tapped Jensen on the shoulder and I was like, do you think it'd be okay if I took a picture inside baby? And he was like, yeah, oh my God, you don't have to ask. I was like, oh, but I do. Because baby is like a black girl's hair. You don't just touch it without permission. And he started to laugh and I was just like, whew, okay, so is that a yes? And then I got to take a picture in the car and he like photobombed me. And I was like, this is the best ever.
That is
Yeah.
living the dream. Oh my God. That though must have been like a playground to you, literally. If you know you did love it so much entering into it.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. And everybody was so kind. I mean, my first day, Ruth was on set and she was like, hey, come have lunch with me. And I was like, I know that I wanted to be friends with you in high school. I know I did. You know, when you're that person who'll sit with somebody at lunch who doesn't know anybody.
Yeah, helping the new kid kind of deal. Oh,
And the new kid, helping
that's
the new kid. So
lovely.
I was really welcomed in a really loving way by, you know, and she's one of my dear friends to this day. So thank you, Supernatural.
She does have a beautiful energy though, but so does a lot of the cast because you see
Oh my
it,
goodness.
you really do see it, especially if you're like me and you're a little bit of a freak and you watch all the behind the scenes special features and the featurettes, you can see the love that's there, and at conventions as well. You get to see it a lot.
Yeah.
Um, how have you found the convention circuit? Because I know it's a lot that is quite intense, but you seem like somebody who thrive.
You know, I really do appreciate the conventions because it really reintroduced me to my singing voice, and that is something I'll treasure forever. And every time I get an opportunity to sing, I look at it as such an incredible opportunity now. And I'm more excited than nervous. And the Supernatural family helped me get there. And the love, the encouragement, the support just has been so incredible over the years that I feel so blessed to have kind of walked into a room where you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't know there was just a little pocket of love right here in this time and space. And we're all here like at the same time of, you know, when the okay, got it, you know, and so it's been a real joy and a real journey. You know, I'm still incredibly nervous to perform when I have to sing because I'm a rehearsal geek. And so to be like, your rehearsal is you get to run through your song once and go next, you know, and you're just like, ah,
That's not enough.
I just want to go one more time. It's like, no time. And it's just like, okay. So that's the part that makes it nerve-wracking. And yes, I can rehearse on my own, but it's different when you're rehearsing on your own versus working with a band. And it's easier with a band, but And Loudon Swain and everybody is so incredible, and I couldn't do it without them. Like literally, and like literally, I couldn't do it without them. So yeah, that's been a really beautiful, unexpected twist in this journey.
That's gorgeous. I know what you're saying about the rehearsal. My brother's in a band. And I
Mhm.
know for him on show days, it's like once rehearsal starts, one would not be enough. If he was told you can run through the song twice, it would be like, I can't do that.
I can't perform after only rehearsing it once, and you're like, yeah, you can go. It's
You've
just
done it
have a good
before.
time. Yeah, so I just try to have a good time, and now that I have a little guy who's like, I like your voice. I was like, if my son thinks I can sing, I can sing. End of discussion. Now I'm not going to question it again. If you like my voice, I'm good.
I have got to make it out someday to a convention. I haven't been to any of I think the Creation Con because they're mostly in the States. But like you said,
Mm.
you can see the love in the room. The vibe is just gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Um, but keep it on the topic of kind of vibes. Your lifestyle course,
Mm.
fascinating. Take a breath. I have some quotes that I just want to run by you quickly. One that I absolutely loved was accomplishments don't define me. What matters is I've found happiness. And I thought that was gorgeously profound for somebody, especially in the arts, you know, it's almost built into you to be hard on yourself, to be your own worst critic. So
Yeah.
how did you push past that need for validation from external sources and I guess yourself?
I don't think you ever push past it. I think you get better at handling it. Just like going to the gym, the first day, everything feels so hard and so intense. But if
Mm.
you do it over and over again, eventually you're going to have to step up the weights, you know, to really get a burn. And I think life does that to us. Like eventually more and more things happen that you're like, okay, well, if you say that you're over it, how about this? And you're just like, no, I said I'm over it. And then you kind of become like just kind of like a ghost around it. Like it just goes right through you because you don't let it sit in your bones. It doesn't become a part of your DNA. But I think you still experience it. Like I would be lying if I didn't say I go through bouts of frustration, jealousy, anger, feeling like I'm not enough, feeling like I'm better than everybody else, feeling like I'm too this or not enough that, or like no one's going to really see the real me, the whole like my authentic self. Am I being authentic? Like all of those things are still a part of the growth that we experience as human beings. And I think when it comes to being able to gauge whether or not you have grown is being able to say that thing that used to bother me actually doesn't bother me as much because it still happens. Like traffic still exists. And that's one thing that's just
Unfortunately.
like never going away, where there's only more people getting on the road. But I don't get as worked up about it. I've created a safe space in my car to let myself be able to sit in an hour and a half of traffic where I use that as a different opportunity for an exercise that I can do in the car, or I can call a friend, or I could, just literally sit in my car and just give good energy to everybody around me who probably doesn't have the idea right now to just relax. You're like, I'm late. And it's just like, are you? Are you? I feel
Yeah.
like in those moments I've settled so much that the rebound from the rotten thoughts is a lot quicker. And so something that would wind me or take me 3 months to get over because I didn't get the part that I really wanted, and I was 5 auditions in, you know now happen in like 5 minutes where you're like, oh god damn, that sucks, fucking bitch, fuck. And you just have Tourette's for a minute. And
Oh,
then you're back and you're just like, oh, right. It's not that big a deal, actually. What I'm worried about isn't anything I need to worry about. How about I just remember that I'm sitting on a couch and I'm not actually falling off a cliff? Because in my head, in my body, I thought, the world is coming to an end. And in
spiraling.
reality,
Yeah.
you know, sitting on a couch. It's awkward, but you're just sitting on a couch. And so I've really learned to to not let my imagination be something that scares me, or my mind be something that scares me. And that's a process, and you're stronger on some days than you are on others,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah. But I build in space to handle that.
That's interesting because I think, like you said, it's the acceptance that you're gonna feel it anyway. You know what I mean? That no, they're normal human emotions. You're gonna, feel off one day or not feeling 100% another day. But it's learning to balance, I guess. And I was wild as a teenager. I would have been the one screaming in traffic as a teenager. And I think with
Yeah.
age, yeah. And I think as you get older as well, you just kind of learn, like you said, it's not that deep. You're sitting in a seat. We're okay. But
Yeah.
one more quote that I absolutely loved, and it was from the blog as part of your Take a Breath website, was you said you compared life to makeup. And you said we
Mhm.
want the full five face in 5 minutes, but a peaceful life doesn't happen in 5 minutes. As somebody who struggles every morning with their face, I am aware it doesn't take 5 minutes. But it was a gorgeous parallel that you made. And I had no idea that you were a makeup artist as well before.
Yeah. Before I was an actor, I was a makeup artist, I was a personal trainer. Yeah, did a lot of things, did a lot of things. But makeup was a real passion of mine when I first got out of high school, and even really in high school. Like, I was that girl in the bathroom doing people's eyebrows. Like, I really love makeup and the fun that you can have with the colors and creation and all of that stuff, and your face being a canvas,
Mm.
and I got really into it. And when I was about 20, I got hired at Holt Renfrew, and I worked at the counter, Bobby Brown. And I would ask my clients who would come in, because I would have regulars. And I would just, they would hear me talking with other people, and I had to sort of explain myself when I was like, what are we going for today? Like, are we going for the 5 minute phase, the 10 minute phase, the 15 minute phase, 30? Or I got all the time in the world. And people would have to choose, and they would be confused at first because they didn't understand the question. It was like, what do you mean a 5 minute face? I was like, you just go put a little blush, a little lipstick, a little, 5 minutes, you're at the door. Or a little, a little somewhere. You're like, no, I got time. And I would meet a lot of women who would really want the full face, and I was like, well, you only got 5 minutes, so don't expect it to look like that. And I would just be very real and honest with people. And as I got into doing more of this wellness work and becoming a coach, I really, really could see the parallel of how, a lot of my clients wanted to have the most zen, pieced out life with a 5 minute meditation practice a day. And I was like, no,
That's not how you get it.
no, no, you got to build a schedule where you actually have room to breathe. Like, when you build a schedule where your day is packed back to back with meetings, this, that, the other, and you haven't actually scheduled in all of that time to just literally do nothing. Like, what are you doing? You're like, nothing. Like, nothing. You're like, nothing. You watching TV? Nah, just sitting on the couch, because you need that. We exert so much energy as human beings, and especially as artists and creatives. There's so much expelling of energy that we just need to sometimes just sit and do absolutely nothing. And we sometimes need to build in space to connect with our friends and be like, I need to work on that side of myself, because I always have to be engaged with my life, because I do that for a living, as I play a very engaged with their lives person. And so that analogy really, really, really hits home for me, and like my inner makeup artist and like my own self guru, that it's just like, right, I do that to myself. It's just like, how come I don't feel relaxed? And it's like, bitch, you haven't meditated in 3 days. And you're just like, oh, right, right. You don't get to have it without doing the work. And that's just the reality of it. That's just the truth. That's the law that we can't break. And so when I, get comments on my posts of just like, it's just never working for me, or it never happens for me, or things are always, going wrong. And I just say, you're the common denominator. And I don't mean that in a rude or harsh way, but when you can't take responsibility for your energy and how you're actually putting this out into the world, then what's coming back at you will always feel like a surprise. But if you take ownership of it, and this is a hard one, I'm not saying it's easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. But when you really become conscious of, I am the creator, I am co-creating with this truth, and this is something that I often tell younger artists and remind older, more seasoned artists of, is I'm like, don't forget that there is a higher power that's doing something for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's that trust in that invisible support surrounding you, whether you call that God or the universe or,
Mm.
any other name, but this loving power just ensures all the time that wonderful things are happening, even in the midst of chaos and tragedy and heartache and heartbreak and grief. There is still an invisible loving force supporting you. And if you still have a dream in your heart, it's putting energy towards letting that be a reality for you. But if you don't allow yourself to take action, and if you don't follow the spiritual assignments, then you really, that's on you, because nobody can do it but you.
Mm. It's interesting what you say about leaning into the fact that something, somewhere, whatever you want to believe in, something's got you and is guiding you. And I
Yeah.
think that's something I particularly lean into because I, like I said, can spiral, or it's so easy to feel like, why is nothing working? And at times like that, just to lean in that someone's got it and it'll work out. Um, just one final question to wrap up, and I'll let you go. With all of the things that you've done, I'm talking acting, stage work, makeup. It does seem like you're the kind of person who you give. You're always giving. You're always giving little parts of yourself, giving little pieces of advice. What have you learned throughout your time? Could be working, could be on any job that you've done. Something you've learned that you wish that you could share. Something you picked up along your journey that you feel like if I just put this out into the world, it might help someone.
I think to always have hope. And I believe hope is believing that there are extraordinary things at work, even in the midst of everything falling apart. And that's why I always lean into meditation, and why my company is called Take a Breath, because it's the first thing we get when we enter this world. And it's the last thing we do when we leave it. And I think that means it's pretty important. And yet we have it in abundance if we want it. And if we allow ourselves to really breathe into this vessel that we were given, and breathe into the spaces that usually don't get to have that wind go through them, I think people would experience subtle shifts and miraculous moments that they can't explain, but has been proven through science, happens. And I would really say, if I could leave people with one thing, is just like, breathe, take a breath. It's going to be okay.
Mm.
Listen now, believe me later.
That's gorgeous. That is, I struggle with anxiety, and I have to say, I that's why I found a lot of what you a lot of what you talk about through your website, through your videos and lifestyle course. As someone who does struggle with anxiety, it's the three rule, right? Three things that you can see, touch, smell, like that. Breathe, count the breaths, count in, count out, and it's true. It's one of the most basic things I think that people take for granted and don't even think about.
Mm.
Um, yeah, beautiful answer. Yeah, I've kept you long enough. Again,
Oh my goodness. This
thank
was a
you.
wonderful interview.
Oh, thank you so much. You are the first person I have met from the show ever. And
Oh,
like I said, I've been watching it half of my life, and I've been following your journey for a while now on Instagram. And yeah, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to sit and talk. And you just have the most beautiful vibe to you. So it was an absolute pleasure getting to sit and talk.
Likewise. Thank you. And thank you for sharing my ideas and thoughts with your audience. I feel really grateful to have been included. Thank you.
Oh, not at all. You're absolutely welcome. Like I said, I've been following you on Instagram and I love a lot of what you discuss and it resonates with me. So happy to share it.
Thank you.
No
All
problem
right.
at
Well,
all.
have a wonderful rest of your day and all the love and success to you now and always.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day also. And that is it for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I will link Lisa's Instagram in the description down below if you guys would like to go follow. She just, I don't know, man. There's just something about her. Do you ever just meet somebody or see somebody and just know, like, I like their vibe. I like their energy. She was always that for me. I mean, Billie, I tried not to fangirl. Okay. A lot of the time when I do these interview style videos, like, I'm okay, I'm chill. I'm excited, but I'm chill. I was trying so hard not to fangirl, let me tell you. Billie, oh my god, I loved Billie's character so much. And I just, I love Lisa's energy. So yeah, like I said, that's it for this video. All of my socials are linked in the description down below if you want to go follow me. Lisa's Instagram is also linked in the description if you want to go give her a follow. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you all soon.